Hey y'all, welcome to Camirra's Kitchen. Today I'm showing you how to make a delicious and easy chicken pot pie. This is a great weeknight meal that you can do in your cast iron skillet. Honey, if you love soul food, go ahead and check out my new ebook, Southern Touch. It has tons of soul food recipes that you and your family are going to love. Now I'm going to start off with about 3 pounds of chicken. Now you could, get a rotisserie chicken, but today we flexing on them, okay? We're going to roast our own chicken. The simple way I'm going to cook this is going to bring out tons of flavor. I am going to rub this down in some sunflower oil, and then I am simply going to generously season this with some salt and a little bit of chicken bouillon. I know that may not seem like much, but when you cook this at high temperatures, it's going to make the skin crispy, it's going to render the fat, and it's going to bring out all types of flavor. So I'm going to cook this at 425 for about 35 minutes, okay? May take 40 minutes, depending on how big your leg quarters are. You're going to see that skin is going to be nice and crispy. And that is exactly what you want, because this skin is going to become like a flavor bomb in this chicken pot pie. So I am going to take off the skin and set it to the side, okay? We're not throwing it away. Okay, and don't even eat it, because I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to taste good, okay? And I'm going to take them off, and then I'm going to use some forks, and I'm going to start shredding that chicken. Now, the chicken was hot, okay, so I had to use forks. But if you let this cool down or you do this early, of course, you can just shred this with your fingers. Then I'm going to take the meat and just toss it in the tray juices, just because, you want all that flavor, okay? Now for the skin. All right, we are going to take this and we are going to cut this up into really small pieces. This may seem strange, but I'm telling you that this is like an umami flavor enhancer that is going to be delicious, and you will not even detect that the little bits of the chicken skin are in there. I'm going to put that with my shredded chicken, and then here, I have my mirepoix, I have my onion, my garlic, my carrot, my celery, 4 ounces of mushrooms, and I'm going to use some fresh herbs as well. Got to love the fresh rosemary. Into my cast iron skillet, I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of butter, and then I'm going to go ahead and add in my celery, my onions, and my carrots, and I'm going to saute this for about 3 minutes until a little color gets on it. Then I'm going to put in my mushrooms, and I'm going to saute that for about 4 more minutes. If this recipe is already looking good, go ahead and leave me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments what you serve with your chicken pot pie. Some people eat this on its own, but you know what? It'd be really good with a nice little side salad as well. Once my mushrooms have cooked down, I'm going to put in my fresh rosemary and about 2.5 tablespoons of flour. We're going to toast that because we want to cook out that flour taste. Now it's going to get a little smoky, okay? A little smoky to bear, okay? But don't worry about that. You all up in the pan, okay? So I'm going to add in some water, and then I'm going to put in a little bit of dry white wine. That's optional. If you don't do white wine, you can leave that out. Then I'm going to put in a tablespoon of my onion and herb seasoning. This is just a mixture of garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of rosemary, thyme, sage, just all the herbs, but I pre-blend it. I'm then going to add in some half and half. You definitely need that creaminess in your gravy, and you're going to let this just, simmer a little bit. It's going to start to thicken up. And while it does, you want to go ahead and toss in some chicken bouillon. That is going to enhance the flavor because remember, we added water. Now, if you want to add chicken broth, then of course you don't necessarily need the bouillon cubes. But I just feel like the bouillon is just so much more affordable. Now, as this keeps going, I'm going to just season this to my taste. So I decide to add in a little bit more garlic powder, and later on you'll see me add in a little bit more Creole seasoning. Go ahead and toss in that chicken and of course that chicken skin. And I am going to just use whatever vegetables I got in my freezer, baby. Okay, so I had some peas, so I put that in. I also had a little bit of frozen corn, so I tossed that in. If you have like the mixed vegetables that have the green bean in them as well, that would be a great thing to add. Chicken pot pie is really one of those dishes where you can just put in whatever you have at your house. In fact, my mom used to often do this with like leftover chicken or leftover turkey from Thanksgiving, and we just made it, a meal, okay? For the topping, you can either use pie crust or like I'm doing today, I'm using one puff pastry. I let this sit out so that it could defrost for a few minutes while my chicken was cooking. I just had this sitting on the counter. I am going to just roll this out until it is about the size of my cast iron skillet. I'm using a 12-inch cast iron skillet today, but you could also do this recipe in a 10-inch cast iron skillet. I'm then going to take my rolled out puff pastry and I am just going to lay it on top of my cast iron skillet, and the heat is now off on my stove. Now I needed to cut off the excess because of course you don't want that overhang. Now I probably should not have done this, but y'all, puff pastry is hot. So I just took the edges and I just started sticking them back on the back in the pan. Okay, it probably prevented my puff pastry from getting as puffy on the sides as it could have, but with the way these prices is built, honey, we ain't wasting nothing. Okay, we ain't throwing nothing away. Okay, so I went ahead and took mine in, but if you want your sides to go higher, you probably should just trim it and not tuck the edges. I'm then going to make some slits because you want some ventilation. And I am going to just brush this with a little bit of heavy cream just to help it brown. I'm going to put this in the oven at 375 for about 20 to 25 minutes. You just want to watch it. Remember, everything's cooked. You're just wanting to cook the top crust. Now, this is what it was looking like when it was done. It was bubbly. It was delicious. It had so much flavor. Let me know if you are going to make this meal and what you are going to serve this with. Remember, I love you and Jesus loves you. Thank you so much for supporting this channel, and I'll see you next time in Camirra's Kitchen. Goodbye and God bless.